right, can you guys hear me okay? Great. Okay, so I'm going to talk about DeFi for normal people. That's the title of the talk. And I think hopefully it'll be a little bit entertaining and a bit of a call to action in terms of things that we can do to actually bring more than the million or 2 million or whatever number of people are out there actually using DeFi and help ultimately onboard the next 100 million or billion users into crypto. So first, by a show of hands, how many people here use DeFi regularly? Maybe you have a hardware wallet or a MetaMask or whatever. All right, so I'm going to say 30%, and then the rest of you just don't want to raise your hand, but that's fine. When you use DeFi, for those of you that use it, do you feel comfortable? Like, do you feel safe when you're signing a transaction? How many of you feel safe and comfortable using DeFi day to day? One person, 2, 3, 4. All right. I mean, I use DeFi every day. Pretty large transactions, and I mean, I got to tell you, every time I hit that button on a hardware wallet, there's like a little bit of sweat that develops. Where I'm like, is this it? Is this the time that I get rugged? And that among many problems, this is the type of thing that ether.fi ultimately hopes to address. So I thought a fun way to go through this conversation is to show you text messages. These are actual text messages from a real person, a friend of mine, that I got to deploy capital into ether.fi. So I'm going to show you kind of like open the kimono and show you some of the issues that even ether.fi, which I think probably is regarded as a relatively user-friendly protocol, even ether.fi has with trying to get normal people that aren't crypto degens to use the project. And I should say, my friend is, he's probably about my age, maybe even a little bit younger. He's a smart guy. He ran a software company. He made tens of millions of dollars. Like he's like a person that you would actually consider like very technically savvy. He's a programmer, smart guy. And one day, I was telling him about ether.fi. He got super excited and said, "Yeah, all right, cool. I'm going to deploy some capital into ether.fi." And this is the conversation. This is the journey that he went through in terms of trying to use crypto for the first time. Okay, so the first thing that happened is he tried to send money, in his case to Kraken. He sent the money, and for some reason, for like a week and a half, nothing. The money just didn't show up. And so he sends me a text message being stressed out, like, what the hell is going on? Where did the money go? Is this typical? So, I try to reassure him. I told him to reach out to support, but understandably, that wasn't a good experience, even for like a relatively, small amount of money. So he said, okay, you know what? Forget Kraken. I'm going to use something else. He's Canadian, so he tried using something called Wealthsimple, which is a Canadian crypto, it's a Canadian robo-advisor thing that does crypto. So he said, okay, forget Kraken, I'm going to try Wealthsimple. So that's like the first barrier that he had to get through. So I asked him, okay, well, does Wealthsimple let you just withdraw it into a wallet? And so he said, yep, he did it. He set up MetaMask. He muddled his way through the seed phrase and like the whole multi-step process of setting up a wallet and trying to understand how it works, and then got that going. Next, he realized, oh shit, he bought some ETH on Wealthsimple, but they charge a 2% fee on ETH, and he didn't realize that. The UI, on the actual exchange didn't make it clear to him that he was actually paying 2%, and so he's thinking, all right, I'm going to deploy like 50K or 100K. Like that's ridiculous. That's way too much. Cost associated with just getting some ETH. So then he says, okay, well, I'm going to go back to Kraken now. So finally, he gets on with Kraken support. They dig around. I don't know. They look in the couch cushions. They find his money, and then he realized, oh, they charged him like $150 for like wire fees or exchange fees or whatever just to get the money on the exchange. So $5,000 and $5,045 became $4,900. Okay, pretty frustrating experience, very opaque, not really, this is not a person that's going to be raving about how awesome crypto is. Okay, so he finally gets his ETH. He finally puts it, into MetaMask. And I told him, hey, you got to use a hardware wallet. Don't use a software wallet. So he doesn't even understand the difference. Okay, like, if I use MetaMask, then I have to transfer it to Trezor. Like, does that mean, like, he didn't recognize that there's a connection between MetaMask and Trezor. He didn't realize these two things work together. He thought he has to, like, send it from one to another. So that was, like, another point of confusion for him. So then finally he's like, okay, oh, now I understand. I can use Trezor with my MetaMask. So he's gone through, like, 5 different steps just to get crypto to a point where it's in his hardware wallet that he can even begin to use it in DeFi. Okay, finally he connected his MetaMask to his Trezor. He goes to ether.fi, deposits 1 ETH, so he feels great. Okay, I get it. But then, and this is, as ether.fi, we can certainly make our experience better. But he's like, okay, so to make something liquid, I had to pay I had to do 2 transactions, $5, then $10. Like, what the hell is actually going on? And so what he's talking about here is he had to do an approval. And for a normal person trying to, interact with a DeFi protocol, it's like, what am I approving? Like, what does this even mean? And then he had to do a deposit. And in each of those, he had to pay $15 in total just to get the ETH into the, this DeFi protocol. And then he's like, okay, well, I put it in Liquid. Does it mean it's not staked? So Liquid, in our case, is a DeFi vault. So this person, understandably, thought that when he's taking his staked ETH and putting it into Liquid, now he's like, oh, well, it's not staked anymore. Now I have to stake it. If you think about, like, the amount of context that you need to actually understand what the hell is going on when you're interacting with these protocols, even something as simple as depositing it into Aave, there are thousands of pieces of information that you actually need to have in your head to be able to operate even at the simplest level in DeFi, let alone trying to, like, lever up on Pendle and mine your YT tokens and all the fun stuff that some of us like to do. Okay, so now he's like, all right, I got them. I staked it. I kind of understand what's going on. How do I know what my performance looks like? And so, there's no way for him to tell. Like, has he made money? Has he lost money? Like, is it in ETH? Is it in dollars? It's like a completely opaque process. So I said, okay, you should go check out DBank. So he says, great, okay, I'm going to go use DBank, and every day I guess I'm going to log in and track this stuff on a spreadsheet like it's 1985. And then finally, all right, now he's Canadian, so he has to pay taxes on this stuff. So he's like, well, is this income? Is this capital gains? Like, how do I generate a report that, like, an accountant can then actually use in order to file a tax return? So again, if you think about the number of steps someone has to go through to use, whether it's ether.fi or I'm using ether.fi because I don't want to, talk poorly about other people's products, so you can blame me. But I think any protocol that a person actually uses today involves at least this rough sequence of steps of, like, on-ramp onto crypto, from crypto, put it into MetaMask, hardware wallet, deposit, 2 or 3 different transactions, and then try to figure out what the hell is going on after the fact. So the context that you need is really tremendous, and I think it's substantially different than trying to interact with, like, I don't know, a bank or buying a stock. Like, there's a much more straightforward process that TradFi, as much as we criticize it, has created that makes it much more accessible to normal people. Because right now, I think objectively, we have to say that DeFi is basically incomprehensible to normal people, which is why it's limited to whatever it is, maybe 1 million people that are using it worldwide. Okay, so now I get to show ether.fi. So our mission, we started, and we currently are, for the most part, a liquid staking protocol that has restaking built in. So ether.fi, you can stake your ETH, and it's automatically restaked in EigenLayer, so you get to collect your loyalty points and staking rewards and restaking rewards. We've been pretty successful in that small pocket of the universe that is DeFi. We're at 3.5 billion in TVL and continuing to grow, and we launched this new liquid product that my friend was struggling with. So we've done well in this tiny little niche, but our goal ultimately is to make DeFi accessible to millions of people worldwide. And what a normal person typically needs out of their, let's say, financial services universe, is they need to be able to save their money, they need to be able to invest it, and then they need to be able to spend it. Those are the sort of three basic functions that a human operating the financial universe needs to have. And that is basically the ether.fi roadmap. ether.fi Stake is your savings account. ether.fi Liquid is your non-custodial investment account. And ether.fi Cash is your spending account. So the idea is with ether.fi staking, you deposit your ETH, it's staked, it's restaked, and gives you all the benefits of staking and the natural kind of interest rate of the Ethereum universe. ether.fi Liquid is an automated non-custodial strategy vault. So you take your staked ETH, you put it into Liquid, and Liquid deploys it into the DeFi universe and automates all of your degen activities so that you don't need to worry about it in a risk-managed way. And finally, ether.fi Cash, which has not yet been released, but will hopefully be in the next few months, is a mobile app with an MPC wallet and a credit card attached that lets you actually spend and borrow against your assets in ether.fi. So the idea is you open this app, you buy some ETH, you deposit it, and then you can spend it any way that you want in the real world. So the idea is that you'll never have to off-ramp again. You on-ramp onto crypto once, and then you're fully done. And we think that by doing this, by making DeFi accessible, so it's a couple of clicks without having to have a whole world of context in your head in order to be able to use these basic functions, we think we start opening up the world of DeFi to a much broader audience and allow normal people to benefit from all the great stuff that's happening in our ecosystem. That's it. Thank you.